Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think like a deterrent. Yeah, I think that's. I mean, often I think Quixel. That's sort of the decks that I like to lean on. Is like I have a deck that uses Quixel Stone in that fashion too. It's Shumple's the Friendly. I think you're probably familiar with this, but
Very.
uses the game just to stifle a mid game. Then you have a Gizmo to pop to help you close out the end game with a nice Amber Burst. But I think yeah, it can be definitely very much a hit to your opponent's tempo if timed appropriately, and then you can then try to catapult yourself into the finish line on the third key. So I really like that sort of usage of a Quixel Stone in a deck.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll grant this one is a little bit of a stretch, but I was hoping to have some things to show for uses for the stone that folks might not expect, and maybe even give you something to think about or reconsider on some of the Quixel decks that you've kind of written
Yeah,
off because of a 21 count of creatures or something, right? Like who looks at Quixel
definitely.
Stone, sees 21 creatures, and is like, yeah, baby, give me that.
Yeah, actually, this is a good point. If you could bring up Shumple's a Friendly for me, this actually falls right in line with Russell the Invisible because it does exactly this, and Reclaimed by Nature. We're just using Gizmo. But when you look at this deck, but in fact, it is a key component to this deck. Let's see if you can pull it up.
Hmm.
Oh, maybe I just can't see it. Let me pull it up on my end. uh, this deck a lot. It's got two strange gizmos, but most importantly, it has three Ronnie risk locks in the Chimer Eclipse. So your opponent thinks that you're going to be using creatures to amber out the game. So this Quixotic seems sort of not yet your opponent's going to be discarding this card because most of my strategy's on the board. But in fact, like what I'm often trying to do is trying to set up Zenzu, try to pop all my artifacts, get him in the middle, and then drop Quixel Stone, and then try to either get a lot of efficient or by popping the Quixel Stone and then dropping a bunch of Ronnies for a lot of me close out the end game. So, just trying to get it on the field for a brief period throughout the game, throughout the race. So I think I really like that strategy or that utility for Quixel Stone, especially with like isn't seeing that strategy coming.
Yeah, I've definitely seen you surprise many a folk, many a person with the with the Quixel in this deck, and make really good use out of the strange gizmos too, which
Yeah.
perhaps not a double sided artifact, but will deserve an episode at some point to highlight its utilization. Yeah. Hmm.
At some point, it's definitely one of my most active because it has a lot of artifacts in there that can be quite tricky to play with or enjoy that deck a lot. Also, a deck that I've been so it does one of my favorites for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You've played this one in a number of different leagues and things, so you've gotten a lot of use out of it. And it's one you opened too, I think, right?
Yeah. I played. Yeah, I've been like below 75. Play this in like any format where I have to give my opponent that I like to use.